the name Durango and memorized its contents because I know every cell of me was conjured in its fertile valley. My blood from the mines, my family crossing, was our records restored, and 3 generations later I arrived. My father said my birth reminded him of his hunts. My mom's traumatic C-section, forcing him to watch me torment the woman he loved, having organs and blood removed so my fingers and toes could wiggle. And I wonder if our hostile relationship began that day. If you could never see me without seeing any pain, I remember how fatherless I felt before you ran away, and how many times I was told it's just part of our story. The strength of the single mothers who came before me, how I hold the lives of women, decades of suffering, their names tattooed in my veins because I shed my tears and smiled with them just the same. The pain I feel is not singular. Though we all wish it could have been how it should have been, but maybe it was our curse when we left Durango, leaving our motherland means our mothers will suffer from fathers that seem to lose life when we are born. I sit and listen to stories from my abuelita and abuelito, my mothers and tias, and wonder why any of us still fall in love. My parents' fights would always leave me staring at the door, wondering how long before we break. When we walked out of the house, I sat on the floor and wondered what could break this curse. 3 generations of fatherless children. Maybe coming to America was a mistake. Maybe in Durango, fathers stayed. Maybe the hot springs washed away the sins they made from the slaves they were in the silver mines. Maybe in Durango, families fought together as the revolution rose around them. Maybe if we were still in Durango, I wouldn't exist. But my family would be together. Because I never met the man who passed down the family name, Abuelita Sylvia, watching him walk away like I did from the living room floor. She raised my abuelito in his aunt's house like my tia Vicky did me as I slept on her couch, wondering why my brother still heard your voice, but my father was nowhere to be seen. I talked to Tia Vicky and she never saw her father again too, but she's been married to Theo Arthur for 60 years, so how did she break the curse? The curse my abuelito couldn't break when he walked out the door with my mother too young to watch him walk away, but broken enough to come back to become a father to me. Maybe different generations will free each other from the curse, so maybe my daughter will have both her parents since my father has joined the ashes of my family in the mines of Durango, but you can never actually stay for me. Single mothers was all I've ever known, addressing it in my kindergarten class as Grandparents' Day because my grandparents came in separately. I remember the nights I cried because I couldn't understand where my father had gone, even though he had just dropped me off at home, how I always felt alone. My abuelita had 3 husbands, countless boyfriends, scorched my mother's childhood, so when she was with me, she made sure I knew to only rely on women. I remember my tias talking to my mother during her divorce. They had both been through it before, and I wonder what it meant. Why fatherless children raise parentified kids, why the cycle repeats before we have a chance to change it. I don't remember what either of my feels looked like. Not even my godfather somewhere out in this world. I imagine I have a lot of unknown family in this world. As the first man started a new family after leaving Abuelita Sylvia with one, she had 6 kids and raised them in her aunt's house, and my mom had 5 kids and I slept on my tia's couch. The pattern, the history, the cycle burns within me, and all I've ever wanted was to let it out. My cousins without fathers, raising kids without fathers, divorce lawyers who did my family a plaque. I sat on the floor watching you leave, praying to God, yelling at 3 generations, why did you abandon me? Trimming the branches of a family tree that maybe wasn't supposed to be grown here. But the only place I could exist is here, so the curse lives on through me for my daughter to change. But parents are supposed to be better grandparents the way my abuelito was for me. Maybe my daughter should have been your redemption, so why did you leave us both? Is this how the curse ends without the chance of changing it together? Because if that's the case, then let me be damned for centuries if it means you lived. How do I carry on without hope I can change things? How do I live without history taunting me?